and grateful and excited to introduce you to my guest today, Edward Willey, coming to us from Santa Cruz, California, founder of Open Hearted Coaching. Hello, welcome.
Hi, Rachel. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to talk to you. So, just in brief, you're a life coach, a meditation instructor, a martial arts instructor, and please tell us more. And you help individuals and groups of people, as well as businesses, to tap into elements of their hearts, minds, and souls to help them be more happy and successful in their lives. Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
It's so incredible. So please tell us what you do and what open-hearted coaching is all about.
Sure. Well, I help people with self-empowerment and self-healing so that they, you could say, can more easily choose and embody happiness.
That's perfect.
Mhm.
How
And
symbiotic.
so I started calling it open-hearted coaching because that's sort of I don't say a prerequisite, but when the heart's open, you have more access to happiness. I actually have kind of four pillars that I work on in my coaching and teaching practice. That's being able to relax the body, so you have a relaxed, energized body. Open your heart, so that you have the energy of love flowing through you, but also to have a quiet mind and a clear mind, and then be able to get up from that clear mind and take yourself out into the world. So being able to basically relax your body, open your heart, sit down, and get up to take that happiness, embody it, and as a gift, bring it out into a world that needs more happy people, and more happiness and more love in the world. And that's you say my mission is to help bring a greater capacity for love to this world.
Oh, I love that so much. And it's so true. And what I especially love is the getting up part, because I think so many times we will meditate or do yoga or really get in touch with ourselves. And then we're like, okay, that's done. Now I'm going to go and be stressed. But to bring all of that with us and embody it within us to live our lives, that's beautiful. Oh, and it's so important. Can you tell us what led you to start this practice and why you wanted to help people in this way?
Sure. Well, I've always been kind and loving, and we were talking about this before the call, but when I was a kid, I think I was 10 or 11, I was going by Eddie, and I was often misunderstood and picked on and made fun of by my family and we moved around a lot when I was a kid. We moved every year or two to a different school and actually usually a different state.
Hmm.
But I was always a new kid and got picked on and wore glasses. And one day I went up to my parents. I said, "It's no longer Eddie. It's just Ed." And I was like, "You don't get me. You don't get all of me. Fine. I'm gonna close my heart." And that was the first experience that I had of my heart closing. From there, I was really a sweet kid, but I was shy and I was nervous. I was unable to speak up in public. Had a lot of social anxiety. I used to have like one or two close friends, but I was often the loner, and it was hard for me to feel like I belonged, and that and I also had a lot of anger. I learned how to yell from my father, and just from society teaches us that that's the way to express emotions, and um, and so you knew me in college, and that was sweet. But I was also in parties. I would often be kind of quiet, or holding up the wall, or going outside to have a cigarette just to get some space and quiet. I had friends, and I also a lot of times felt like I didn't really belong. I didn't really know how to connect with people. I envied people, well, like you, who were very outgoing and seemed like you had an ease of making friends. And in 2006, I was living in Moab, Utah, and a girlfriend that I was seeing then said, "Hey, this teacher is coming to town. You should come to this workshop." And I didn't know anything about it. And I said, "Okay, sure, I'll go check it out." And back then, it was called the Qigong of Unconditional Love, the name was Shengzhen, which in Chinese basically means unconditional love. And so I almost didn't go because I was like, that sounds lame. Like, I'm a dude. Like, what do I want to do with unconditional love for? That's boring. Like, I pictured old ladies petting cats, and like wasn't really interested. But then, like a few days before the workshop, I was like, oh my god, I have to go. And I quick called up the person who was hosting. I was like, is there room for me? Can I please get in? I gotta go to this thing. He said, yeah, sure. There's room. Come. So I went, and in the morning session during this practice, it was a Qigong movement meditation practice. And the teacher said, open your heart to the whole universe during one of these movements. And I was like, I can do that. And then, well, click, something happened and something bigger opened up, some connection. And I was like, whoa, I can do that. What is this? After that workshop ended, I felt alive and vibrant, joyful, energized in a way that was astounding to me. I didn't quite know what happened. People started to hug me twice. I give them a hug, and they would like grab me again and hug me. Started making more friends. My social anxiety started to go away. I became able to speak up in public. I quit smoking shortly after that. And within 6 months or so, practicing, all the anger that I used to feel faded away. And I started to do something that was really incredible. I started to dance for the first time ever. I used to feel so awkward and scared growing up, especially like high school dances. I'd just be biting my nails, being like, oh, I wish I could dance. And girls would be like, you want to dance? I'd be like, oh, I don't dance. And they're like, yeah, come on, everyone dances. I'm like, no, I don't dance. And then so they would go dance with somebody else. And I'd be like, well, I want to dance with them. But then when this heart opening happened, and then I started to become more embodied also. This practice wasn't just sitting meditation. There was a movement component to it. So my body started to unlock. I started to become more fluid and graceful. And yeah, dancing. And now I dance regularly. It was the hugest transformation that I never even thought it was possible to feel that way. Mm-hmm. And so I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and been in tech my whole life. Up until October of 2019, I was the vice president of software engineering for a small company here in Santa Cruz. And so I use these practices to help manage kind of living in a stressful tech world. And that job ended in 2019. The company wasn't doing so well. And so it's time to look for another software job. Now, I've been teaching the Shengzhen practice since that workshop. I went on to become a teacher. I've been to 10 teacher trainings. I just really loved the practice. I loved being in that environment and working on myself and my heart. And so I started thinking about getting another tech job, and the energy would just be like, why? You're like, no motivation. But then I would think, well, what if I like taught Shengzhen and Aikido and opened people's hearts? Oh, wow. And I have all this energy. And so it became very clear that that's what my soul and nature wanted me to start doing. So I began teaching more online workshops. I was teaching a lot of in-person workshops. I have a studio space in the downstairs of the house I'm living in now. And I was teaching in-person classes and some online classes. When COVID hit, I moved everything to online. And then I realized that something was missing. It wasn't just I was teaching this practice, but I wasn't helping people apply it in their life. And then I said, oh, well, what if I become a coach and actually help people, go through the process of opening the heart, help people navigate that and how to apply the different practices in their life. And so I decided to work on becoming a coach. And the name Open-Hearted Coach came because that's what I thought was the most important, turning point for me, was this heart opening experience. I've gone through different names since then, meditation coach, but then people think I just help them be good at sitting on a cushion. And like you said, the important part is, yes, that's good. But then how do you get up off your cushion and bring your practice out into the world? I'm settling now on empowerment coach. So I teach self-empowerment and also self-healing. And then how do you apply that to your relationship, your business, your life in general? I've been practicing Aikido since 1995 and was teaching classes here in Santa Cruz at the dojo here. And that's when I'm at my happiest is when I am helping people kind of unlock the rigidity in their body and their mind and their heart and become more present, more embodied, more relaxed, have more energy and more love, and to see people like blossom,
Mm.
which is kind of was what happened to me. And so that's what I realized. This is what I really, it's what really lights me up. And so I've been working on doing this full time since then.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's so brilliant and beautiful that you were really able, when you were at that crossroads, to tap into what your gut was telling you. And when we talk about this choose happiness journey, I talk a lot about listening to your gut, because you always know inside what you really want to do and what's going to cause you the most joy and upliftedness. And I think if you had been shut off that, you would have said, I've got to go back into tech. I've got to make the same money I was making. I've got to get up the corporate ladder, or whatever. But you were able to be still and say, no, that was great. That served me then. This is the new chapter for me. And I can just imagine the multitudes of people you have helped with what you teach them. I mean, it's I think everybody should do this. I really do.
Yeah, I wasn't helping. I was helping some people, helping them earn a living, but making software that help them in their job. But it really wasn't helping people in the way that I'm capable of helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I need to be doing in my life. I have a gift for teaching. I have a heart that loves to serve, and I care. I love people, and I have yeah, just a desire to be of service.
Oh, wow. And that's also when you get up every day and you're excited about what the day holds, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's
Hmm.
it's really that simple. Um, a lot of us have had our hearts broken and bruised and hurt a lot of times, many times. Can you share something a little bit about what you teach of how we can move past those hurts and not keep our hearts locked up? Because that's really easy. And I think there's a lot of fear of, if we've had our hearts broken, to open up again.
Right. That's such a good question. There's this notion of, okay, so your heart's open. That means there's no more pain, no more suffering, nothing to worry about anymore, and life is just joyful. And there's some truth to that. But life is full of many experiences. Life has ups and downs, and it's just a myriad of emotions and other people and circumstances. And the better idea of thinking, I'm just always going to be happy all the time. There's a notion of equipoise, so that no matter how happy things get, you don't get too blown out, and no matter how down things get, you don't get too distraught. You kind of maintain more of an evenness. There's so a sense of emotional resilience, and so you may experience something that makes you feel sad, but maybe you're not quite as sad for as long. And maybe you're super excited and you realize, oh, maybe I'm a little too extra excited. I just watched a movie called Inside Out. Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
super beautiful. And at the end, it talks about how important sadness is in someone's life. So it's not something to be like, I never want to experience sadness. I think the idea of an open heart means you have the energy of life, of love that flows through you. And that may feel like sadness for some time, but it flows through you. And then something else begins to flow through you. So it doesn't get locked up inside of you. It's that locking up that causes discomfort, pain, anxiety, and fear. And it's a practice. So it's not something, oh, my heart's open, like I said, and all of a sudden, I've mastered happiness. You, like your book says, you can choose happiness again and again and again. I heard somewhere once, you can either be right or you can be happy, and it's up to you. And so if you're like in a relationship and you're fighting with your partner, it's so common to think, oh, well, if this person would just change and say things the way I need them to say, then I can be happy. But maybe there's another way to think about it, where if you start to choose happiness, then maybe the other person changes. So there's all kinds of pain, and people think I need to protect my heart. And so I'm going to close my heart so that it's safe. What happens is you make yourself smaller. And when you make yourself smaller, the problems seem bigger. What's a big problem to a small closed heart actually becomes a smaller problem when the heart can start to open. And you have more of your own energy and more of the power of life flowing through you so that you can handle the things, make the changes that you can make so that the pain isn't so hard anymore. You're more able to hold up your boundaries when your heart's open. If somebody is like physically hurting you, let's say you're in an abusive relationship, open heart doesn't mean, okay, do whatever you want to me. No, it means being able to have the strength to say, no, this is not acceptable. This must change. You need to get help and I need to go somewhere else. And so the power of an open heart means you have that energy of love flowing through you. And it may look like anger. It may feel like sadness, but it doesn't consume you. And there's a guiding principle that happiness, you begin to choose it more and more. No, I want something better for myself. I don't want to wallow here in self-pity or despair. And you just need to, you may not be able to get out of it right away, but you just figure out how you want to feel and just take a step towards that. Maybe you go from despair to anger. Maybe that feels a little more empowering. And from anger, you can start to go to frustration and then irritation. And then you start to think, oh, maybe I can be more empowered if I make this choice. Little by little, you can make the steps there. So really, working on keeping the heart open is what will help you to be more fully yourself, more safe. But it's not going to stop you from feeling emotions. And we're here to feel emotions, but how much do they control your life and what emotions are even possible? So when the heart's open, you begin to see more possibilities. Oh, well, maybe I can start to feel a little bit of compassion or empathy for somebody else to understand why they were yelling at me. Maybe I can offer a little bit of that empathy back to them. And then maybe they've never been looked at with love before in their life and something changes in them. They feel more understood, heals the pain because they had somebody else in their past that yelled at them. So they just repeating some patterns. So it gives you the power to make change in the world.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Two things come to mind. The part about, I feel like when we do close our hearts off, let's say to a person who may love us, but maybe doesn't show it the way we would prefer, if we can open up our heart and show that person empathy and see where they're coming from, that then opens up a dialogue or at least a something where it's not just, okay, I am done with you, I'm closed off, but it opens up, I guess, both hearts in a way, because then you can say, I'm not going to take what you're saying in, I'm going to give you empathy from this open heart that I now have. And that can only lead to better things. That can only lead to goodness and repairing a relationship and healing. And the thing that I think is amazing is, and you totally changed my mind, because I was thinking about a closed heart, meaning I'm not going to open myself up to hurt again. But if you think about the heart as the actual organ, it's always pumping. It's not ever stopped. Well, if it stopped, that's really bad. So if it's always pumping, then we are always having blood flow to it and we are always healing. So if we are open to that, the heart is never really closed or stopped. And that's a way we can think about it, where it's always, even if it's hurt, it's still moving. And like you said, then we can allow other things to come in, like compassion, empathy, even toward ourselves. Wow.
Heart's always moving, heart's naturally opening, and the heart's naturally closing. Yes, it may feel good to be open and receptive, and then maybe a little too much. And so maybe it closes down a little bit. So there's this process that's always happening. There's opening and closing. There's the idea of, like, say, forgiveness, for example. this is one way to keep your heart open to somebody else. My feeling is that forgiveness isn't really for that other person. That's for yourself, so that you feel better when your heart's open. The empathy and compassion, yes, it's a gift to other people, but ultimately it's a gift to yourself.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that can be so difficult because I think sometimes in our minds we feel like if we express forgiveness or feel forgiveness, we're saying, well, then what you did was okay. And it's not. It's that what you did wasn't okay, but now I'm okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd rather feel better than hold on to this hurt that you did. I don't like what you did. I'm never gonna like what you did. But I want to feel better in my life, and I don't want to hold on to it. And maybe I can begin to understand why you might have done this thing, and then maybe can have some understanding, start to have some compassion. And I think ultimately that's a big gift of an open heart.
Hmm.
I heard a quote that was from the CEO of LinkedIn, where he said that the strongest people that he knew were the ones that could embody unconditional compassion. But then he went on to say that that was a superhuman thing to do, which I disagree with that part, because I believe that all of us have access to compassion. And if we just more and more choose that and have a guiding principle that I want to see what it feels like to open my heart a little bit more, to have a little more compassion, have a little bit more of empathy. And then something starts to change. And little by little, the heart becomes bigger and stronger and more has more capacity to handle the full range of human experience.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I feel like, especially the last year, everybody became so divisive and there was no listening to other people. There were people who helped and there was compassion, but everything on the news seemed like it was all I'm right, you're wrong, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you do have that open heart, then you can listen to someone else. Even if you don't agree, you can still say, I hear you, I see you, I know where you're coming from. And I think that opens doors to everybody just getting along. It's not you against me anymore.
I
Mm.
was having an argument with my partner, and I got caught up in, oh, why is she acting this way? And if she would just act this other way, then I could be happy, and so and so. And then this little voice, or this something, this clear knowing was like, you can choose to lead the way. And I was like, oh. And the phrase lead with the dream or lead with the vision of what you want came to mind. And I thought, well, as this was on, we were having a date night, and I thought to myself, well, how do I want this date night to go? And how do I want to see her? Well, I want to see her as this beautiful, fun, sexy person, romantic partner that I'm with right now. And I want to see us having fun. So, okay. So I had to drop the feeling, the desire to be right, desired for somebody else to change. And I just had to choose what I wanted and point myself in that direction and start walking that way. So I started telling her how beautiful she was and how much I appreciated her. And little by little, that diffused the situation. And we had an amazing rest of the evening. And then I just started to realize that's the power of choosing happiness. It gives you a direction to walk in, and it's a choice. And the more conscious you become of that choice, the more you're able to make that decision to walk in the direction that you want to go, and not kind of wallow in the what I call the pit of despair, right? Oh, it's never going to work, or she's never going to change. This always happens, and this and that. Actually, okay, maybe, but let's stop for a moment. Let's kind of just relax. Let the mind quiet. Let the heart open. Connect with what you want, and then let's get up and move in that direction. To me,
Hmm.
that's a four-pillar formula for 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 life, for choosing happiness, for choosing the way you want things to go.
I am putting that on my mirror. Lead with the vision. That is, I've never heard that before, and that is that's going in the sequel. That is extraordinary. Wow. Because I do think sometimes when we're in an argumentative state, we feel like we have no choice but to keep belaboring our point and keep making sure that we let the other person know that we're right. And but then we always have the choice to change our mindset and change what comes out of our mouth. And that is being conscious of the stopping in the middle and saying, what am I doing? Do I really want, like you said, what's more important, being right or being happy? Oh my goodness, I just want to soak that in for a moment. That is gold, my friend. Wow. Wow.
It's
Well,
um it's a muscle, and I find it to be kind of difficult to really let go of that kind of, it's not fair, and this person is this way, and why is it like this, and on and on. And if you can find it in yourself to let go of those things,
mhm,
decide what you want it, how you want it to look like,
mhm.
and start walking in that way and acting like it's already there, then you'll get there.
I feel like that's a recipe for choosing happiness right there. Wow. Um, wow, I'm still marinating. You offer a customized class called Activate Your Purpose, which sounds so exciting. Can you explain what this entails and what someone gets out of it? Is this a one-on-one experience that you offer?
Y- Yes, I think I was offering, not currently offering that, but it may be again. I kind of folded that into my coaching. So the idea for that class was, and this kind of relates to what we were just talking about. We often think that um, I want to have something so that I can do the things that make me happy. And that's very common. If I get this job, I'll be happy. If I have this relationship, that's less stressful, I'll be happier. If I'm this, and that's actually backwards. The magic formula is not have, do, be, but reversed. It's be, do, have. So the idea in activate your purpose is to figure out what you want, connect to what you want, and then act like you already have that. And so and then figure out what you need to do in order to be the person now.
Mhm.
So same way with this argument example, I had to connect with what I wanted to have and who do I need to be right now. I need to be a loving, happy, joyful person, then start doing happy, joyful things, and then lo and behold, I got the outcome that I was hoping for. If I was waiting to have the partner who agreed with me so that I could then start doing the things that would make us happy, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere. It would have been kind of a disastrous night. So and there's a magic to that. You start to get to be happy now, as opposed to waiting until this changes or that thing changes. And so the activate your purpose, and I take people through what I call the Prism process. So Prism, like if you have this crystal that's cloudy and it's not in the light, it's not going to really do anything. But if it's polished and clear and aligned with the beam of light, boom, it spreads out this huge array of light and of rainbows. So the idea is to get that clarity and that alignment. So I take them through these 4 pillars that I'm talking about:
Mhm.
relaxing your body, opening your heart, quieting your mind, so that you can access what you want to have, who you need, what you need to do to start being that person now, and then getting up off the cushion or out of the meditation or out of this practice to take that out into the world. So there's a process of journaling and meditation and movement, so that you can know what your purpose is, and then be able to uh, start to 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 embody
Mhm.
that purpose, to bring that out into the world.
Wow, that sounds so helpful and such common sense that we don't tap into. Like, could you say again the have, be, do? What was the
Be, do, have.
that's what we should do as opposed to
Have, to be.
Right.
So
Okay.
instead of waiting to have something in order to do the things that make you happy,
Right.
be happy first,
Yeah.
and then do the things that you want to do.
Right. Right.
Then you'll have that. So there's a
My
lot of
mirror's
yeah.
going to get very full from everything that you're telling me that I want to remember.
Yeah, start with the end in mind. Really, is one of the
Right.
ways that
Right.
begin with the end.
And that I think is also kind of giving us permission to dream for the life that we really want. What is that going to look like? And then we can take all the steps to get there. Because I think sometimes we get stuck in, well, it's never going to happen. So why bother?
Well, why do you want to get to that dream anyway? You want to be happy, really. So let's be happy now,
Yes.
and then you'll get there. Point yourself in the direction of happy. If I want to go to Las Vegas I live in Santa Cruz, well, I point my car in the direction of Las Vegas and I keep going. If at some point along the way I look down and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Santa Barbara. God, not in Vegas or not in LA. This sucks. Like I'm gonna go home. Like you're never gonna make it. No, you just keep going. You know where you want to go, and you just keep heading that way. And you choose to be
Yes.
happy along the way. And then you're happy when you get there too.
Hmm. Wow. It is such a gift to be able to talk to you today. I just have to say. Um, I also love your workshop titled Embody Your Brilliance, which really explores the mind body connection. Can you explain a little about what that practice looks like?
Sure, mind, body, and heart and spirit
Okay.
connection. So
Mhm.
as I talk about these four pillars, being able to relax your body. So what would it take for you to have your full self shining through in the world? Well, you need to have a relaxed body and your energy flowing through you. So there's some vitality that you're feeling. Your heart has to be open so that there's this power, this energy of love flowing through you. People feel your passion and your enthusiasm and your courage and your charisma. And then there's quieting the mind. So learning how some meditation practice so that not just the mind being quiet, but when the mind is quiet, it rests in that open heart and that relaxed body becomes more empowered. The heart has the big picture. So it's like you're on a river, on a boat on a river. You can't see past the next bend, but the heart has that bird's eye view. You can see the full path. So
Mm.
the mind can rest in that big open heart. And then the fourth part, getting up. How do you get up in the world? How do you stand in a good, powerful stance? How do you move around the world? And there's often conflict. So how do you move and blend with that conflict? And I bring in some Aikido principles for managing and resolving and moving around with conflict in the world. So how do you bring your powerful self out there, powerful presence? And
Mm.
it's a way to sort of yeah embody it. Like most meditation teachers, it's just all about sitting on the cushion. but
Mhm.
but how do you need to have in my feeling, uh be able to be in your body. A long time ago someone said, Ed, you're not in your body, and I was like, what do you mean I'm not in my body? That's stupid. I'm right here. I'm in my body. Like my body's here. I'm in it, right?
Yeah.
And then years later, I was like, oh, wow, I'm not in my body. I'm like floating above it. And he didn't want to be in my body because it was tense and it was nervous and it was anxious and it was angry, right? And then so after this kind of heart opening practice and really getting into it, I started to become more embodied.
Mm.
And that's actually what I see a lot of people who aren't embodied. They're nervous and they're tense, and so that kind of keeps you out of your body. They have a lot of pain in them, which might keep you out of your body. It just doesn't seem safe to be fully present and fully embodied. And so part of this workshop, and it's really all of this is in my one-on-one coaching now, is I want to get people to be able to be more embodied. So in my coaching practice, we do some talking to help identify what they want, what's getting in their way, give them ideas for ways to think, different perspectives. But then also there's a getting up and moving component so that they can embody the dream in the ways that they want to feel. So for
Mhm.
me, embody your brilliance is to be able to shine out in the world and walk around in that big, beautiful, open-hearted, relaxed, calm way, and become an inspiration for people. And you become like that crystal that's cleaned and aligned in the light, and you're shining, and it's a gift to people because then one, they get to appreciate you, but then they see their own self
Mm.
mirrored back, and they see themselves as shinier people.
Yes. Oh, yes. And when I think about people walking down the street these days, or before COVID, I should say, it's hurried, it's looking at the phone, it's what do I have to do next? It's crossing off the list. And there's not that mindfulness of opening ourselves up and just letting ourselves not be hunched over, but really expand and have our hearts and souls out there for people to get beauty and light from. And that I think that's something I really rarely see anymore. There's a lot of this,
A lot
you
of
know?
hunched over and smallness and in your head a lot. And it almost seems, honestly, these days, it almost seems a little hypocritical to be happy because like there's so much going on in the world. There's so much confusion and there's wars and there's hunger and there's fighting and there's all this conflict. So what does it even mean to be happy? And I
Mhm,
think that we can realize that our nature is love, and that
mhm,
when we can access that nature, that's the only way we're going to make any change in the world. So if
mhm,
you want to see the world be different, you have to choose that for yourself, and that becomes an inspiration for for others. And then little by little, something will happen in the world. We'll start to learn how to act from love and to heal the stuff that's happened to us in the past. It's okay. We've done our best as humans, and we have more to do. Now we have the technology, and how do we bring the heart into it? And so I see a new era or epoch of love coming in the world where people can know and experience and embody and use on a regular basis the power of an open heart, the power of love to connect, to inspire, to heal, and to bring more joy, more happiness to the world because we
mhm.
deserve to live that way, and it's some work. Mm.
And I think if our intention is I'm choosing happiness, I'm choosing to open my heart, I'm choosing to tap into this in myself to show compassion to others, to bring light and joy to others, that's a really beautiful intention. And we do deserve to be happy, absolutely. But we also, because we're members of humanity, I feel like we're obligated to spread it as well. So I love having that intention where people will say, well, how could you be happy with everything horrible going on? Well, I can embody happiness to make you happy and to make that person happy and to make that person's life a little bit better, and so on and so on.
Yeah,
That's
I've heard it said you can't get sick enough to help a sick person become well. So you can't get unhappy enough to help an unhappy person get happy. You have to lead the way. My teacher, the main teacher, the founder of Shengden, his name is Li Junfeng, and he was the head coach of the Beijing martial art team for many years. And then when he got introduced to this practice, this is all he teaches. When I met him, he was the most genuinely happy person I'd ever met. And I remember thinking when I first met him, like, what's behind that? Like what, who are you really? Are you just like, take your happy pills this morning, or like what's going on? And I realized that no, he truly to his core has connected to love and open heart and embodies happiness. I've seen it be angry, I've seen it be really sad, but his emotions flow through him. He said once in the beginning of me meeting him, he said, he was talking to the class, he said, no matter what, he said, always be happy. He said, if somebody's mean to you, don't worry about it. Just choose happiness is basically what he said. And I was like, you're crazy. Like, how can you do that? Like that, like you're not connected to reality. But the more I practice, the more I feel the power of love that flows through an open heart, the more I realize how important forgiveness, compassion, empathy are, the more I want my own being to experience joy, the more I understand what he was saying. It's a formula for bringing in the change you want to see in the world. And
Mm.
and it starts, you have only have control over yourself and how you feel. And so make that choice. Choose happiness, choose love, choose to practice keeping the heart open. And
Mm.
then when it closes, honor that and maybe try again to open a little more and a little more. And little by little, as it opens and closes, you build that muscle, start to you have a greater capacity for more energy, more love to flow through you. And it begins to heal the pain, it begins to heal the nervousness, the anxiety, depression. And at its core, it heals it. And so you begin to have a stronger resilience and a stronger sense of what it means to be alive and be to be happy. Mm.
I feel like we need to teach kids this at a young age, you know? If we had known this when we were younger, you know?
Yeah. Kids teach us too. I mean, kids naturally have that
That's
myth. But
very
yeah, but
true.
what you're right. We're not taught this. We're not taught. We're taught it's normal to be sad, to be depressed, to be angry, to yell. Like this is how we're taught on in movies and on TV, by our peers. Like this is what you're supposed to do, and this is normal.
Mhm.
And yeah, it would be fantastic if we taught people that there's a stronger power, stronger guiding principle that you can focus on, and but not to discredit emotions and feelings. As I was saying, like we're human, we have
Mhm.
emotions, we're going to feel all this stuff going to come up through us. But what does it do when it comes up? Does it get stuck in us? Does it cause us to get rigid and lash out? Or does it cause us to really feel those feelings and then to be able to find how we want to feel and work towards that? So I think that's the real gift of keeping the heart open. We get to really celebrate and enjoy our humanness.
Mhm. Oh, that's so true. And you've mentioned Aikido a couple times. Can you tell us how that ties into your coaching? And is there maybe one thing you could share with us about a principle of Aikido to help us on our mindfulness and happiness journey?
Yeah, sure. Aikido. I started in '95. I have a second degree black belt. I could talk about Aikido pretty much nonstop. Um, there's a common misconception of Aikido. You often hear the phrase, "You use your opponent's energy against them." This is a pretty common way people describe Aikido. And what you actually do is you use the power of love, of an open heart, to resolve conflict, to bring peace where there was once harmony. So you don't look at it, oh, I'm going to overcome this attacker, and then all of a sudden I'm now safe. Instead, you learn how to blend, to join energy together, to guide it into a safe place, to neutralize it. Might be a better word, but it's an art to create harmony, to create more peace. I in Aikido means love or harmony. Ki is energy, life force, and Do means the way. So it's the way of creating harmony, the way of combining love and Ki, which is the same practice as Shengzhen. Shengzhen is like Qigong, but it's Qi together with love, and it's the way to do that. So Aikido is Ki together with love. How do you walk that path? So, for example, let's say there's a common practice we do in Aikido called Tai no Henko. And Tai no Henko is somebody grabs your wrist. So when your wrist is grabbed, what do you want to do? Well, you look at where you're grabbed and you think, oh, there's conflict. Someone's grabbing me. You may feel tense inside of yourself. You may try to pull away, or you may try to push forward against it. So you may, struggle. It doesn't get you anywhere. In Aikido, we learn to get centered into ourselves first. Okay, my wrist is grabbed, but the rest of me isn't. And so I can settle into my center. Then you do you enter so that you connect yourself with that point of conflict. So you unify things. Then the most powerful practice is you turn yourself so that you are now facing in the same direction as the person who just grabbed your wrist. And your energy is now flowing together. And now you understand where they're coming from. You see what they can see. and then you take a step forward and can guide that energy into a better place. So you now have joined, and you have your own power back. Instead of resisting, you join and blend. And so let's say you're in an argument with somebody. Well, instead of pushing or pulling or resisting or getting tense about it, well, enter into that argument, turn, see what this person is arguing with you about, understand them. And then from there, you can guide to a better place.
Mhm.
So Aikido is a healing art. Aikido and the Sen Shengzhen, the view of both founders is that humanity is one family, and we're united with unconditional love. And how do you bring that into practice? And so in Aikido, we practice by two people or sometimes multiple attackers, but you learn to stay present in yourself, and you look around the world. You don't focus on, oh, there's that person who's coming to attack me. Instead, you keep your gaze up, you keep your heart open, and then there's a blending of ki that happens, and there's a connection. And then there's so somebody may attack you. The founder said to turn your attacker's fury into laughter. I'm paraphrasing, but to make somebody your friend.
Mm.
So in martial arts, like karate or anything like that, you're gonna, like, someone tries to attack you, well, you attack them back, and you quote unquote defend yourself. And but usually it means breaking that person's arm or neck or some way incapacitating them so they can't cause any more harm until they heal, and then they can go out and cause more harm. Eventually, someone's going to be bigger than you, and then you're not going to be able to do that. So that's the most of martial art history. But the founder of Aikido had a big realization that it was all about love, about unconditional love. And he was like, oh, I see. And then so he created an art, Aikido, which is a healing art, a way to bring all of humanity back together as one family. So I bring that into my practice. I bring some of the principles of Aikido, how to have a good stance, how to move and blend with conflict, so that when you want to take your practice yourself out in the world, you want to embody your happiness or your brilliance, or you have a good, strong presence. What happens when there's conflict? So how do you learn to blend with that? And you don't need to be a martial art expert for that part. Anybody can learn the principles of Aikido, how to stand, how to feel your center, how to move and blend, how to look at conflict from a different perspective. It's a way to make a connection. It's an opportunity to heal. It's an opportunity to make your heart stronger. It's an opportunity to bring more love into the world. And and so even just your grounded presence can be healing. So let's say somebody wants to attack you, but they see you and you're radiant, you're shining, you're smiling, you look, they're like, maybe I'm not going to attack this person. Like, so really the goal of Aikido is not the main goal, the top goal is not to what happens when somebody attacks you. It's that you become somebody that people don't attack you in the first place. Just your presence eliminates that desire, that drive to attack in them. So you just become a walking big body of love that just transforms the world around you. You know, you may smile at your attacker, and maybe they've never been smiled at before, and they're like, they feel your love and they break down in tears. And all of a sudden, now you have a new friend or a new student. So it's really the highest Budo martial art. The word Budo means Bu means loving protection of all of humanity, and Do is the way of that. So I would say Aikido, and the founder would say Aikido is true Budo. What's the true way to have loving protection for all of humanity? And we think, oh, this person argues with me, so they're causing the conflict. Well, I argue back. Maybe you argue back, and maybe you help escalate the conflict. So maybe it may seem like someone's causing conflict, and it's just them, but maybe we can examine our own role in creating conflict and start to work to heal that, so that when there is conflict that comes to us, then we can kind of relearn, and that we have a natural instinct, to want to fight. Or so maybe we can learn a new way, which is to relax, to open, to receive, and to guide that energy to a place that we've chosen, which and you could say is happiness, or is love. So it's a
Yeah.
way to really embody choosing love, and choosing happiness.
Yes. And not jumping to the combat mentality that I think we jump to so quickly, especially these days. I
Hmm.
love the thought of turning to see your opponent's point of view. That is it's beautiful. It really is, and it's life changing.
For them as well.
Yes, right, right. So tell us, where can we find you and your wonderful coaching?
Well, I'd say come visit me in Santa Cruz. Once things open up, you can definitely come see me in person. You can find me on my website, Open Hearted Coaching. I have a Facebook page. I think it's called Open Hearted Coaching as well, or Open Hearted Coach. Instagram, Open Hearted Coach.
Okay.
And I'm currently offering, right now until the end of this month, I'm offering free coaching sessions as a way to build my practice and get the word out. So if you're listening to this sometime before the end of April 2021, then you can schedule a free call with me. And I still may offer that even afterwards. So yeah, right now I love working with people one-on-one. I like to work for 4 months so that we can work the first month to work on relaxing your body. It's such a key to being happy. Have relaxed, have your energy flowing through you. And then the second month is about working on opening the heart. How do you learn to get that energy of love flowing through you? The third month will be more about quieting the mind, some meditation practices. And then the fourth is getting up and taking that open heart, relaxed body, and quiet mind out into the world. Let yourself shine, bring that authentic presence, that your brilliance, your purpose, and be able to embody that and take that out into your business, into your relationship, just into life in general. So it's yeah, training method for choosing happiness. And yeah.
It's it's fantastic. We'll have all your information at the end of this as well as in the notes. Edward, I am so grateful that I just I learned so much. I'm going to keep thinking about this for days and weeks to come. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom and brilliance and light and wonderfulness with us. And I cannot wait to see you in person. When I can get out there, I will be there. I can't wait. Thank you.
Thank
Mm.
you so much for the opportunity to share what I love with you today.
Wow, amazing. Wow, thank you. Mwah.
Thanks for
Bye.